you don't want to give people answers because they'll never learn.
This is where being a boss is a lot like being a parent, right?
Some days, for sure. There's, 100% of who you are, 95% of what you do, you can teach somebody else to do. Well, Ryan, delegating in a business has got to be one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. Losing control like that and seeing the end result is by far probably one of the greatest challenges. And there's a way through it, right? You just gotta buckle down and get through that.
Yeah, it's the greatest challenge for a business owner, especially somebody like you who's a subject matter expert, to turn around and say, okay, I'm taking control out of this result out of my hands and giving it to somebody who isn't as good as you, or at least you strongly believe they're not as good as you at that job. But it's also the only thing it is the main thing that keeps small business owners from going from self-employed to multi-million-dollar businesses that can scale.
Yeah, I think we pride ourselves as entrepreneurs in the fact that we can outwork most. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a level of laziness that comes in the mindset of growth, right? Not laziness and attitude, but I just don't want to do that anymore. And we learning how successful, what it's going to look like, slowing down from where I went from 100 hours a week for a year to 40 hours now. And sometimes 45.
Feel like
really pushing it. I do, and that goes back to some of its childhood. I mean, you had one job to do today, and that was give hot coffee, and that is not hot coffee.
Roll in late, looking like you just had chicken wings all over your face, and still no.
Did you go to Wingstop now that we have one of those? I mean, we are really getting up in the world.
These are actually homemade wings, and they were delicious. But I had the kids, dropped them off, grabbed cold chicken wings, shoved them down my face as I drove over here,
I thought you were going to say cold beer. Yeah.
Nope.
It'll really make it liven up in here, wouldn't it? Yeah.
If I had a beer right now, I would be loose for sure. Yeah. Been a minute.
A couple of tall boy Modelo's instead of.
You want me to pop that in the microwave for you?
Yeah.
Microwave coffee. Yeah, I like it better cold. It kind of stings the larynx, makes me sound extra sexy.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Get that next day whiskey voice.
Yeah. Man, I think I smoked a pack of cigarettes last night. You did.
So diving in today, back on the main point. I mean, you just rabbit trail so bad.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's all my fault.
Yeah. Last week we were discussing what it looks like to be an owner and what the difference is, right? And now this week getting to some key points of what that really looks like bite by bite, right? So talking about delegating as an owner, what is my job? What is your job as a business owner supposed to look like? And it really depends on what kind of business you've envisioned, right? And I think you're a big dreamer like I am. And every time we've hired a new person, a new role, not only breaking those things down of what that person's role is, but then passing off enough stuff. Because I still have a bad habit of going, I could handle that. Just like the situation I was just talking about. I could handle it because it feels like it's my fault. Well, it's not really. It's the business fault. And there's other people that can handle that way better than me. It's getting handled right now as we're sitting here doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Delegated to people that I trust. And that's a key component too of hiring people that you trust. So, and the only way to build that trust is to keep passing off things to
you. Have to give them a level of trust so that they can earn more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know my output doubled when I brought in extra help. Just allowing somebody else to do some of my work doubled my output, and revenue not quite double, but it definitely helped. What did it do for you when you went from you and an apprentice, following your own carrying tools, to hiring a secretary and then that next plumber? Like, where has your business come from and gone to?
Hiring people brought on less exhaustion.
Oh, I want specifics, Mike. Numbers.
Oh, numbers? Yeah, starting off with just me and one other guy, right? We were at a $250,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then transitioning to second year of business, we went from two guys and me in the field with a secretary. We hit seven figures, right?
Right. So it basically tripled, quadrupled.
Yeah. Yeah, just from that happening. Now, net profit wise, there was probably more in that first year to second year.
Right, which is why some people decide to stay as just a
Is it worth the headache? But things got easier. Hiring a secretary, right? I stopped answering the phone in the field, so I got more successful on that side of it. So I saw that of where am I most valuable, and if I'm answering a phone call, I can't give that customer what they need, which is my full attention, or I'm missing calls, which is missing revenue, and letting somebody else come in and step in and take the place. But I know the vision for this company of where I want it to go is just massive growth, and so that keeping focus on that has allowed me in times when I've been like, is this thing worth it? Because new headaches come in. It's not like all the headaches stop, but there's a lot of stuff right now I could not imagine, I could not imagine coming home every evening and doing my books.
Oh yeah,
and going through, at the time, I remember one day I had 86 phone calls. By the time I came over Dallas Pass and back into town, out of service for 3.5, 4 hours, and come back into service, and it was 28 text messages, 17 voicemails, and missed calls out the wazoo, right? And I had answered the phone up to that point, but it's like, man, and then you got to spend the time to go through all that, call them back, and I couldn't imagine doing that every evening.
No,
The level I'm at right now is there's a different stage that I have to go to every day and work on different things, but it's the act of saying no so that you're saying yes to something else, which yes right now is systems and processes.
Right. John Maxwell talks a lot about that, about saying no and saving energy so that you can put your 100%, your best effort into the things that are really important.
Yeah.
And sometimes for some of us, that's, giving our family our full attention. Sometimes that's, okay, I've got a customer appointment in an hour, so I'm going to kind of coast through this, sales meeting or whatever to save energy for that customer appointment. Or,
Yeah.
what is that for you? Well, and sometimes that means, okay, when I'm dragging at 3 p.m, I go hit the gym and spend different energy, right?
Yeah.
That brings back your other energy. What are some I guess hard struggles you've had to do with giving up the control of turning the wrench every day?
Some of the turning the wrench every day was easy until mistakes happened.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it's
And
when they're doing great.
I love
it's
training and I love
thing.
teaching. I love empowering, especially in our field, right? And that 99.9% of plumbers are male, right? So I love seeing.
Is that a stat? Could we look that up there?
Yeah, whether that's accurate. It's pretty close. I've met 2 female plumbers in 15 years. Not saying they're not out there. And I met one gal, she was from California that she ran her own plumbing company. So she was in the field till she got her master's and then ran the company. Mm-hmm. And she did exceptionally well. I'm not saying they can't, but most women, honestly, they drift towards electrician. It's a little easier on the body and you're not in the crawl space all the time, right? That's,
You're so sexist.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's 98.
98%. Sorry.
Producer Drew's got the active stats. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So but for the most part, they're male. So I just assume. But anyway, even if I had a woman in here as a plumber, I'd still be pushing her on for greatness. But I love to train and teach, and I want to see these younger men do the best that they can be for their family, which is why we've created our business, which is an anxiety-free workspace. So passing it off to the guys wasn't difficult because I love to see them succeed and the confidence that it would build in them to come back and say, look what I did. Mm-hmm. And the hard part was when I sent them to a job and they didn't know what they were doing completely, or they made an expensive mistake. Then you instantly fall back into, I should have just done that myself, right? Because you don't want the company to look bad. And those are the moments where I need self-control the most, is to say, well, you got this. This is how you're going to go back and fix it. And I'm sorry that the customer is upset with you right now, but this is ultimately your thing that you have to handle. That was my difficulty in the field stuff. In the office, on that side, there was a lot that I was handling that I've been blessed with an amazing staff that are like, hey, is there anything that I can work on right now that you're doing? And I had to consciously write down a list of things that I was doing that I could train somebody else to do, like pulling permits. Well, I always pulled permits. It's just log in and put a little bit of information. It's not difficult.
So you're
Why am
saying
I
it
doing
doesn't
this?
take a master plumber's license to
No, it really doesn't. But it was something like, well, no, this is just my job description. It's like, well, it's not my job description. I don't need to do that. And learning, even now in the past 2 months, I've learned dramatically what my role is in the company. But it redefines itself every new hire.
Yeah. Every new hire and, every new customer's complaint or whatever.
Yeah. I managed the guys up to 6 months ago, and now having a service manager on Tuesday mornings for training, I just sat out of the way and I wasn't even part of it because I realize I hinder some of that because I'm trying to pass authority off to somebody else.
So you're in like the third generation now. So you've run it yourself. You've handed it off to a guy. Now you are managing the guy who manages the guys.
Yeah. And then eventually he'll manage himself, but he'll still be responsible to tell me what's going on and how to handle certain situations that I may be better at. And every time, it's not like I have less workload. I just recreate more workload that I could be doing.
And the important thing is the company's earning potential has exploded every time you've taken a step back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard thing. That's where, all of us want to keep our hand on the dial to make sure that it's just right. And we are held up from success until we can.
Well, we look at revenue, right? Pride aside, I'm good at my job, right? I'm a good plumber, and I was top revenue producer, right? Which I should be. Well, then you give up that revenue and have to recreate it somewhere else, which is new people.
Yeah.
And hindering the growth of the company is where I fall into. So things run really smoothly with me gone because I've created systems, and that's my job.
And when you're here, you're kind of a crutch, right? They go, oh,
hey, I definitely can be. Yeah, it's moving back to a different office space and locking myself into the stuff that I do definitely gets rid of that crutch. But I've told everyone here that's in my leadership team,
fuck off. No.
Is
that what you told them?
Yeah, no, I'm getting in my own way here. And because they look at the emotional side too of feeling like I need to jump in and take something on. And how do I identify anymore? Not they, them, but like literally.
Next week on Unrivaled Potential Podcast, we explore Mike's next journey.
Yeah.
Hey, girl.
Watch out, Bruce Jenner. And so it's I don't know whether I could say that, right? Yeah. So
he says it. So
yeah.
He's Caitlin. Sorry,
yeah.
Caitlin.
And so it's going. What is my job description now? And even the office gals.
Ask AI. It'll write
they've
you a
gone
good job
through.
description.
Mike's just the owner. He's not a part of this stuff. So like the daily, people calling in, like, I want to talk to Mike. I want to talk to the owner. It's like, well, it's not actually the owner's job to answer disgruntled customers. And I've taken that off my plate because that was one thing that I had that now is passed off because I have no idea what's going on in the day to day.
And in the short term, it really, it really makes that customer happy. I got to talk to the owner and really give him what for.
Yeah. But that's what now you create the office administrator or office manager position or shop manager, right? And then you're passing them off to those ones. But I don't know the complaints anymore. I don't know the schedule. That was another one. I knew 10 jobs a day. I knew what everyone was doing. And then they would talk to me about it at the end, and I was kind of micromanaging it or maybe not letting it go. Like, hey, how did that go? Because some of my guys are in training.
Yeah.
Well, now I've passed that training off to someone else. I have no idea. 13, 14 calls a day that we're at right now. I don't know what everyone's doing. I don't need to either. And that took a lot.
Yeah. That's the really hard thing. having the maturity to say, I don't need to micromanage. It's better for me not to. Having the wherewithal to build a system to make it so you don't need to. Because if you walked out tomorrow, well, they might have some problems, but they could build on what you've laid out and keep running this thing, even if Mike's in jail for strangling a customer, which might happen. We never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope not. But I still worry about who's going to bail me out. Yeah.
Put that as the the lead in. Like, Mike's in jail for strangling a customer. Tune in next.
Yeah. Sure.
That's a what do they tease him with that?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Have me in an orange jumpsuit, all AI'd. Yeah.
Hey, that's actually doable.
Yeah, we could do that. I'd be a good catcher. Yeah. So it's been a process, and I'm still doing it now, even today, passing stuff off and realizing, my biggest flaw in that I've created some really great leaders in this company, and that's just not me. Like, I didn't. God
created them. You gave them the opportunity to.
They have great character. I hired good character, and they achieved what I allowed them to do. Right.
Right.
So
yeah.
you just keep that going, and. But going back to John Maxwell, I think I've shared this with you before. He says there's, 100% of who you are, 95% of what you do, you can teach somebody else to do. There's 5% that comes back from a character, how you were raised, who you dealt with, like societally and whatnot, that is very difficult to teach. And so John Maxwell did that in the form of leadership, gifted, wanted to put in a bunch of energy into it. And so he passed off, even when he was pastoring a church, he passed off almost all of his responsibilities and then just learned how to take that 5% and encourage everyone else to grow. And I've lived by that in this last couple of years.
Sometimes better than others.
Yeah, some days, yeah, definitely better than others. Of how do I keep playing in my role of knowing what my 5% is? That's the difficult part.
Yeah.
My 5%, even when I'm gone, is the creativity that I've been blessed with, that I enjoy about myself. And so it's very easy for me to come up with new ideas for growth, how to make money. And I think, for all the listeners out there, if you are an owner right now and you want to grow massively, just like you are, your primary job should be, how do I create more revenue as a whole, not individually, right?
Yeah, because like we talked about last week, it is easier to hire somebody whose primary job is to help you save money than it is to hire somebody who's like, oh, I have a great idea of how we could 10x this year.
Yeah. And I suck at saving money. It's just not in my, I'm good at budgeting. I've done all those things, done the Dave Ramsey with the little envelopes and spent all my bills like that. I've had that season in life, but my creative brain doesn't think about how to save money. I hired that out. I allowed somebody else to do that. I did it for a year and then passed it off. And now with that, knowing that that's happening in the background, I also have someone to jump ideas off of and go, okay, this is how we create more revenue. Sometimes it has a cost attached to it, right? It may cost us $300 a month, but it's going to maximize profits in this way. Can we afford that? Because this is what it'll produce for us. And coming up with business plans, because I see the greater picture, which isn't always as easy to, it's easy to bring not easy, but it's to pass that vision on to other people in your leadership team is difficult sometimes. But if you're passionate about it, pretty much everyone just follows your lead, but they're never going to see all the details that you do for next growth, right?
Yeah. Even if you're like, Jamie Dimon and great at communicating the vision of what the company is supposed to look like, be, act like, where it's going and all that stuff. Even if you're really great at that, they still can't quite see your perspective of, oh my gosh, in 5 years, it's going to be this. In 10 years, it's going to be, that much more. And these are all the lives we're going to affect. And hey, and here's kind of the step-by-step to get there. They might get, okay, yep, it's going to be big. We're all going to make a lot of money. We're going to touch a lot of lives, whatever the organization's doing. But unless they're equally talented as a visionary, and if that's the case, they ought to be running their own show, right?
Yeah.
Or pay them a lot and get them to stick around. that'll be a future episode on how to retain top talent. 'Cause I
And
think,
so we're looking at how does it, what does it look like in life to separate these things out? But what, and you're not as much growth as me yet, but definitely working on it.
we've got a long ways to go.
Have you prepared yourself emotionally for, like, there was an emotion when you went to your own company, right? From working for someone, W-2 employee. Have you prepared yourself emotionally for what that looks like to start to delegate and hire? Some of those things. Have you had thoughts of what that'll look like for you? Because you're obviously a different personality than me.
Yeah,
Not quite as high strung and
I'm
off the walls.
You're a big teddy bear, and I'm kind of a soulless,
Harpy? No, I'm sorry. I thought I was trying to finish your sentence. I thought we were kind of there with our friendship,
finish each other's sandwiches.
Sentences?
No, not a harpy, but I'd like to think I'm a little harder in that area, or like less of a softie.
Oh, for sure you are. Yeah. You're just
I
not
also-
even thinking about it when you come in here and you're like, Mike, just fire him. I'm like, what? No, he's got a life and he's got children, and
Some of us-
God loves him. I mean,
Some of us don't need to save everybody.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah, I've got my
but
six.
I only bailed him out twice. What do you mean I shouldn't do it a third time?
I've got my 6 people at home that I'm responsible for. Employees and things like that are not on that list. And so that part of it's a little easier for me. The other thing that I think is a little different and easier for me is like websites, SEO, advertising. While they've been my business for 15 years, this portion of it hasn't been my expertise. I'm not like you. I'm not a master plumber. I'm not a master website builder. Yes, that's my company, but I don't have 15 years of code behind the keyboard that I'm like, oh man, I'm the best at this. I can't turn it over to somebody else. I know that I can pay somebody who is better at it and enjoys it more than I do. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's just one example. Like I've kind of already hired that part of it. But so it is a different emotion. I guess my emotional part, I think, is going to be, God, I don't know if this is an emotional part, but I have got to, I know for myself, I've got to get better at communicating both to customers and to employees or contractors to make sure that vision's being connected, because that's where I have a hard time turning it over. Because I've talked to the customer, I've got the vision, and I know what they want. And then turning it over to somebody who wasn't sitting at the table during that discussion and be able to say like, okay, hey, here's all my notes. Here's the vibe they're going for, the feeling, the emotional part of it. And this guy really likes this, Mike really likes, X, Y, or Z. Make sure you incorporate that in his ads, his website, his, whatever. And I think for me, that's the emotional part of it is just having the confidence to know like, okay, you can do this. You need to build the system, and you need to just start turning it over instead of trying to shepherd every project through the entire process. Because I think when I've let go, it's really, blessed me and blessed the customer.
Yeah.
So I need to get better at that. That's what it all comes down to.
Because you're hiring someone that can put more attention, right? Wearing too many hats and being that guy that was in the field talking to the customer, and I love to get to know people. If I'm distracted by something else, a phone call, other guys, their jobs, training technicians, any of those things, I can't devote that 100% attention. And you'll be the same way if somebody wants a website built and wants you to be your client. You're not doing any favors just being you, keeping your costs down or whatever.
Right.
It's not beneficial. Yeah. I mean, there's some people, customers now complain sometimes of what it takes for us to come out, but I wouldn't have been able to help them in the first place if I hadn't gotten to where I was.
Right.
If it was just me and John now, I have plenty of clients. And I would be backed up for the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. Plenty of work, no stress, just working every day. Right. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. But having to, I could go, well, we do all this stuff to keep our prices low. and, drive crappy vans around and show up as whatever plumbing on the side, and I could still be driving that old van of mine, right?
Yeah, the one you get that for free, right? And put about $3,500 worth of parts in it. And,
Yeah, drove it for a year and a half.
Yep. $1 million investment, that free van.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for everybody out there who that's their motto and that's their lifestyle, great. There's a certain segment of customers for those guys who can wait 6 weeks for the guy who is a one-man show and will always be that way. And then there's a segment of customers who they want it done yesterday. They don't care how much it costs, and so you invest the capital and the time and effort and everything like that to be able to build a company that can respond quickly to those needs, get the job done well, fast, and they're okay. They'd rather write a big check than wait 6 weeks. And that's I'd like to say I'm there, but I grew up not poor, but lower middle class, where saving money was really important. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Do I want to spend $20 on that?
Yeah.
I get so mad. The dang grocery delivery guy, he jacked up our order really good the other day. And I'm like, is it worth the $10?
Now for our next episode of First World Problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, jacked up your order.
Jacked up the order. Wrong bacon. Wrong. The vegetables were all brown, and you got the wrong stuff, and then pretended like, oh, sorry, I already checked out. Can't go back. Anyway, but is it worth that $10 to not have to spend an hour in City Market and do it? Absolutely.
I've just gotten into this whole game, and it's an absolute blast.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Yeah, like 3 weeks ago was when I first did the whole order, because I was sick and tired of the whole grocery bag thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, is it really worth my time?
If you live in Colorado, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Or California.
Oh, they do it there too. Yeah.
That's
so stupid, because then you go to
everything stupid
other
we do
states.
Everything stupid we do in Colorado, they did it in California first.
No, okay. Yeah, then you go to other states and they like quadruple bag your gallon of milk, right? And you're just sitting there going like, really? And so I got tired of it, and I just started doing the online ordering thing. What a time saver.
Yeah.
And you just have them walk in your house and put it on your kitchen table.
Oh.
And it's fantastic, for what last night, for instance, my daughters were getting their nails done. And it was going to be 7:00 by the time we got home. It's like, well, we don't have any food. I got to go to I was like, you know what? Just ding, 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 ding. And
it's still cheaper than, taking your family to a restaurant, and better for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't buy. I mean,
hashtag City Market pickup.
You listen to these influencers and they go, hey, this is, you can eat out for this price, and this is what the breakdown is if you were going to cook at home, and you could be working that whole time. And I don't buy into all of that stuff. A part of it is because I like to cook, right? So
yeah, a little therapy in the kitchen.
Yeah. So I don't get into all that stuff, but yeah, definitely delivering. Talk about time saving, less stress, and how long it takes to unload when you don't have grocery bags. Because I was too stubborn and refused to buy all the little paper cloth sacks that they got into.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. I the whole eating out every meal to save time so you can devote more time to work. One, I'm just not going to work that many hours, and two, that's easy when it's one or two people. It's not so easy when it's 7. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey kids, we're all going to McDonald's. Drop $100.
But that goes. I mean, this ties back into, even though it was a little bit of a rabbit trail, really, your definition of business owner. You have to be so protective of your time that any little thing like that gives you more time back to your family, instead of dragging 7 kids to the grocery store or being there without them during that time. What else could you be doing with that moment? And learning the ownership status of what should we be doing as business owners when the grind is still there, but it's changed. Then you dive into this area of, okay, I don't need to do that. It's not worth my time.
Yeah.
And what's that matrix that Vusi Thembekwayi did, right? Of the, what's important or what's urgent. You have to pick apart that graph and go, okay, I work on the stuff that's urgent and very important, and that's it. Everything else, I was telling you this morning of learning how to break everything into quarters of,
Yeah.
okay, it allows you to clearly vision what is important and break apart that list of what's really urgent or just passed off, right? And I get really urgent stuff, and I handle that. Bigger estimates, I handle that until I've learned how to systemize it. And then my job as owner is the day-to-day stuff. I'm not a part of it,
Yeah.
and I'm learning how to save time through that of little things. Do I have an hour to work on this? Can I bust it out in that amount of time because it's, where I should be?
Right. Yeah. As a business owner, spend your time planning, not micromanaging.
Yeah.
Because when you micromanage, you cripple your leaders and your employees so that they never step into that role.
Yeah, and they just feel like you don't rely on them. And then after a while, if it's been, some of my people have been with me for, almost 3 years now. And if I didn't allow them to have that, they would just think I didn't trust them, and you never want to portray that.
Yep.
Absolutely. And usually we don't even notice it, right? I don't notice how much I take on.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And no.
Well, and that's where you've hired well. You've got people who will say, "Hey, Mike, butt out. We got this." Yeah. Go sit in the back and do whatever you do. Go come up with some more ideas, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that was hard. That was another tough to sit down and say, that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And then you feel like in those moments when you say that's what I'm good at, that's all I'm good at.
Yeah.
And breaking those two apart, like all I'm good for right now in this company is coming up with ideas. Well, that in a guy's mind that
is that all I am to you? Is a good idea machine?
Gratified work of going out in the field and fixing something right away. That feels like it should be more masculine, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty masculine behind my keyboard, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, you just get that angry typing going on. I'm a real boy. And so now diving into more in depth of looking at passing stuff off to other people, saying no to things so you can say yes to others. There's a huge difference, right, between delegating and micromanaging. Micromanaging for one pisses everyone off.
Oh yeah,
nobody likes it.
Yeah,
I mean, depending on your type of personality.
Even your most patient employee doesn't want to be micromanaged.
Yeah.
They may want you to be there with them, but they still don't want your opinion on every, fitting size.
They finish something, and I get emails of the finished product, and then they ask for my input, right? And that is, I've never been much of a micro.
If you're not going to drink it, I will.
Yeah. I've never been much of a micromanager. My challenge would be, you got this, go get it, And call me if you have any problems.
Wait, you put in the pump backwards?
Yeah.
What are you, retarded?
And that's bit me in the ass a couple of times of saying, putting someone in a position where they've wanted to achieve, and also.
Especially new employees, right? They're like, oh, I'm going to show off how great I am. And you're like, yeah, go get it. Go get it, son.
And a proper onboarding program is kind of fixing some of that,
That's some wisdom for you new guys who are hiring your first employees.
Yeah, but the rest of them for like the leadership programs that we have in here is go do this and then send me, this is what I want. And I'm learning how to communicate better in what exactly I want, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Letting them handle it in their own way and then coming back in with your input, that's encouraging. If you're standing over top of their shoulder, people they get stressed out for one when the boss does that because you put it at like a higher level, right? And it doesn't benefit anyone because nobody's learning.
So
you're just doing it for them. And I have learned that I do that on the phone too. Of the guys got really bad at calling me consistently because I would answer and I would give them the answer. You don't want to give people answers because they'll never learn.
This is where being a boss is a lot like being a parent, right?
Some days, for sure. Yeah.
So it's in like the hierarchy and important stuff of learning to delegate and not micromanage, having the system set up, allowing the employees to step into leadership roles and also be okay with failure, right?
Being okay with failure is huge for not micromanaging.
If you know in your heart, you actually believe it and trust it, that, hey, this one employee's one mistake today isn't going to tank my company and I don't need to swoop in and save him. it will allow you and your employee and the company to just keep growing and learning, and instead of, you know, every time you save him, atrophy those growth muscles.
Yeah. And it's just more stressful. I think, buddy David Coons, he said if you get asked a question once, you write it down and create an answer for that so that you'll never have to get asked it again. That should go into a template. It should go into an SOP. Anything that
David Coons said that?
Yeah, really good.
I know, that's some serious wisdom for that guy.
It really is wisdom. and he's super helpful in that. If you get asked it once, you don't want to get asked it again. And if you're getting asked the same thing over and over again, well, then you need to create a solution for it.
Right.
And you just keep giving the answer. Just when we changed our pricing structure and stuff like that, we had to create a template of a script of what the responses would be. And then I've never had to answer that question again of why we charge what we charge.
Would you say that's your number one recommendation to business owners starting, hiring and growing like that?
Start writing down what you do. We don't, right? And
I got it up here. I'm sharp as a whip.
They put recipes out there for a reason, to where I am horrible at following a recipe. I don't like it. And in the business, it was the same thing. I was like, I don't know why we do it. We just do it. Well, that's a horrible way of thinking. And I've learned that through some consulting and stuff like that. Like, you start writing it down. Why do we specifically do it this way? And then you can branch off of that once you've got it created. It doesn't have to be perfect, and then you can add to it or you can minus from it. You're like, oh, that was a poor decision. That one didn't work. But if you don't have it wrote down, you're just recreating the same thing every single time. And it's exhausting.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Then you're out of energy for having new ideas and building new systems and actually giving people time and effort to lead.
So I created the habit of writing down at least weekly some of the things that I do. And now we've created, for the next 3 months, there's like 12 items that we're going to write down per position of what do we do on a daily basis. Because eventually my position will be passed off too. And even like the bigger bids and stuff like that I do inside the company that are part of the day-to-day, my next goal is to get rid of that stuff that I do day-to-day, so that everything I can handle is just a phone call of, oh yeah, we should do that. I'm like, hey, how's things going? Oh, everything is good number-wise, right? It's always been difficult for me to get to the point where I look at numbers to see how the company's doing. Because then I'm not looking at people. But now I have a position created where that person's looking at people and I'm looking at numbers. That's not his job. Mine is to look at numbers. I'm like, okay. And it
allows you to be the bad cop to his good cop.
When I'm emotionally connected to people. That's part of, the DISC assessment and that I've done. And I like people. I like people to like me. Right. And I enjoy getting to know people and their lives deeply. To fall into a position is against my nature to look at numbers and go, you're failing.
So what you're saying is it is imperative that you replace yourself in this role relatively quickly before you kill it.
Yeah. Or growing it too, because there's things in there that I need to grow in, because I still know that I'm going to sit down here and learn about some of my guys, their wives are pregnant, right? And so I want to know how their baby appointments go and stuff. I can do that more and definitely a lot better if I'm not focusing on stuff in the business. Still going to be a relational person. That's never going to change. Mm-hmm. But in the part of numbers, yeah, it's not. I want to do well, obviously, and I don't want to not know my numbers, but it's something that I'm passing up. I'll pass off.
Yeah. All right. Well, tune in next week where we're going to cover how you can be busy, booked out, still stressed, but living the dream.
Yeah. How to push through that exhaustion that can happen. Am I doing this right? That can happen on a daily basis. Yeah. And part of that will probably dive into the daily habits that we talk about a lot. How do you bring those into your life to keep stress off, at bay at most, right? So you don't have spinning mind all night long and intense anxiety.
Absolutely.
How to deal with anxiety without medicating.
Yeah. No, thanks. That's a different episode. We think we covered that, didn't we? The clear liquors and trips to Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, they have their place. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was our solution for stress.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. If you guys like this,